Hi there, everybody. Hopefully, everyone's doing well. So, tonight I decided to make a simple set using Unreal Engine 5. I have some assets from Quixel and some stuff I got from Humble Bundle to make a set in the style of Silent Hill. So I don't have anything yet, but it's just two buildings. I only spent a couple hours on it and doing a little bit of research. I know people said Centralia. I'm not sure if that's true or not when it comes to Silent Hill. I think what I was looking at is, surprisingly enough, I was looking at West Virginia as kind of a it's sort of my inspiration because if you look through like cities like Grafton or Montgomery, um, basically you kind of see it. It's very run down. Um, West Virginia has kind of been struggling for a while, so a lot of these buildings, if you go through a town through West Virginia, you'll kind of see it. See a lot of stuff that resembles Silent Hill, I think. So that's just me. That's just what I was looking at. But um, anyway, I just went in, used Blender for some buildings here. So let's just pull up Ultra Dynamic Sky, and we'll go through it through my little process. So yeah, only two buildings. I wanted to do more, but I didn't really have the time. But that's okay. Like I said, some of the buildings are stuff you see, in smaller towns across like New England, the East Coast, and West Virginia. Sometimes the Midwest too. You'll see stuff like this all the time. The smaller towns here. So a couple things to point out. The stuff comes from Quixel, so didn't really cause too much trouble. You can, if you have Quixel, you can assemble a set like this pretty quickly. This stuff is from Quixel here. The materials here comes from Quixel. The signs and everything, the props you see here come from Humble Bundle. So if you kind of keep your eyes out for Humble Bundle, you'll see like Decagon, like the huge bundle of stuff you can get for like $30. It's well worth it if you want to look into that. Yeah, a lot of the decal work here. So that's the one thing I like to use. You see the sidewalks here are based off, use Quixel and everything, but decals is really where it definitely adds a lot of life to your scene. So if you want to build, and especially for cinematics here. So that's what I did here. I just used a lot of decal work here instead of having like this and just having just your basic surface. It kind of looks a little bit lifeless and boring, and it's not very interesting. So just adding a little bit of leaves, debris, especially for like seams here. So let's go here. Let's see if we can hide that. Oh, sorry. Let's look at the other one here. Oops. Where did the other one go? So you can see there's some seams here. It will kind of hide seams. Looks pretty realistic, or somewhat. It gives a little bit more. It gives a lot more life to your scene. So we have some cars here that came from the Humble Bundle thing. And these lampposts, I think they came from a set. I don't remember exactly where, but doors here. So what I did was I went into Blender quickly. So I just basically made a quick outline in Blender. It took me about a couple minutes each. Just went in and quickly modeled. And then I used some props here. So I made one with an interior here, so as a display case. You know, you don't need to be too fancy. So that's just something to consider. Let's see here. So my lighting, so if we press G, you can see a lot of my decal work. There's some lighting here. So lighting, let's actually just turn off Ultra Dynamic Sky. In fact, let's actually, let's probably like this for a second. There we go. So you can see some rectangular lights here matching the color of the sign. I don't like to depend on just the emission maps. It doesn't work very well, and that's something to consider. You want to have like little point lights here. So I have some point lights for the bar, for some of the neon lights here, and I have one here for the outdoor light. Kind of fairly simple lighting setup here. So let's turn that off and let's turn on Ultra Dynamic Sky, and I'll show you how to kind of get the foggy effect from Silent Hill if you want to achieve this. There's a couple of things you're going to get. I strongly recommend something called Ultra Volumetrics, and the last one I'm actually going to use for the snow or the ash effect would be something called Easy Snow. So Ultra Volumetrics, Ultra Dynamic Sky, and Easy Snow will give you a pretty good effect. Also, there's one more thing too. I want to add. Sorry, one more thing. And if you go to plugins here, there's something called Screen Space Fog Scattering. It actually improves the look of your height fog. I strongly recommend that. So anyone who wants to get into cinematics, really good tool. You just plug it in, and it's going to improve the look of your fog. So we have a simple set here. So the first thing for Ultra Dynamic Sky is I like to do something called Real Sun. So I turn that on, and you can see what kind of impact it would have. It usually has pretty good lighting if you do this. So I changed that to have Real Sun. The next thing I like to do is I usually adjust the time, so I do like 1700 or 5 o'clock, and you can even tell like how much this improves. A lot of lighting. A lot of people, like, this is the thing with harsh people do like the sky tools in Unreal. If you put something like at noon, you get really harsh lighting. I like to film around like 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock, you know. That way your shadows are going to be a lot easier to work with. Sorry if I'm hitting the microphone. If you're filming in the in noon, sorry. If you're filming at noon, or if you're filming at using like that main map, that default sky, it has a very harsh shadow and it's kind of a pain in the ass. So let's do 1700, and next I'm going to do ultra dynamic weather, and I'm going to just drag that in. So it's starting to get there, but now I'm going to do overcast. And for ultra dynamic sky, I'm actually going to do something called volumetric fog, and I'm going to turn that on. Not only that, but I'm also going to increase the fog by 0.2, I think. Let's try 0.2. There we go. And you can tell it's actually starting to get there. So one more thing is, this is why I recommend the anything ultra volumetrics, is we're going to place this down here. And let's do some fog scattering here. And what I like to do is just enable this here. And let's work with this. There we are. And now let's adjust the opacity by 0.375. And right there, you can tell that it makes quite a bit of a difference here. So the last thing I need to do is I like to enable Easy Snow. Easy Snow is going to produce what, you can use ultra dynamic weather, but in this instance I would rather use Easy Snow. So for this, do the spawn rate at, so let's do 5,500. But let's also change. We're going to increase the drag. Can you excuse me for a second? All right, sorry about that. Let's see. Let's see. Let's turn on collision. And the last thing we need to do is go to speed. And let's do 0.5. And you can adjust this as you want. Okay, so I think that's what we're getting. I think that's what I want. What I would also do is probably change the lifetime of it. So they have it at, what, 5 seconds? Let's go like with 1. I think this could work out pretty well. It's a pretty good effect for anybody who wants to work with it, but I like working with a volumetric fog. I know it can really zap some memory, but if you're working with cinematics, it makes a huge difference, especially in your work. Especially the look, if you wanted to achieve some kind of creepiness. But with the lighting and everything, it looks pretty good for what it is. I don't know. If you guys want me to properly get the set finished, I can. If anyone wants me to. We can work on a live stream. I can show you like my process. I even bring in characters. But yeah, I think it kind of gives you an idea of what I did to build the set, how to get lighting, how to get proper lighting, how to work with volumetrics, you know, using volumetric fog and using some tools here that can help you. But overall, I think it looks pretty nice for what you get. So, and I only spent a couple hours just to mess around with it. So, in due time, I can make something a lot more menacing, I guess. So, hopefully this helps you. Or not, you know, if you want to get a couple ideas, if you're trying to build a kind of a creepy set or something, I can help you or whatever. I don't know. But I had fun building this, so anyway, thank you guys for watching. See ya.